Breaking news, the Dodgers are in agreement with super reliever Edwin Diaz. We've got the details of the contract. We're going to break it down and other Dodgers news and rumors. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers are Steve.
The Dodgers punch for the chance. He climbs it. Freeman hits the ball. Ready.
Blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the number one Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of the media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And thanks for joining us to break down some breaking news. The Dodgers are signing elite closer, elite reliever, Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz is bringing Timmy Trumpet to Dodger Stadium on a 3-year deal that is going to pay him an AAV of $23 million. That's a new record for an AAV for a reliever. The deal was first reported just minutes ago that it was going to be the Dodgers and Edwin Diaz. And I'm just about to go back down to the Waldorf Astoria to the winter meetings. Jorge Castillo reported, along with Jeff Passan, it's a $69 million deal. And he is headed to the Dodgers. Now, I hope you guys watch this show for the best information. I hope you guys watch this show for the best rumors. And I hope you guys remember my prediction for Edwin Diaz, who was my number one free agent target this offseason. My prediction was 3 years, $72 million. The Dodgers get him for 3 years, $69 million. I was pretty close to getting this one on the money. And talking to people yesterday, this clearly was something that was front of mind for the Dodgers, knowing that you didn't get Devin Williams. And if you've been watching every single episode, which if you want to know everything about what's going on in the world of Dodger baseball and you don't want to get blindsided by moves like this, you should just watch every episode, because we've talked to Edwin Diaz. He's been our most discussed player this offseason because, I'll just be honest with you, I've heard from people, sources, that they wanted him badly and that they wanted a top end reliever. And I only focus my time on players I think the Dodgers will sign because I want to look right. And I don't want to waste time on players I don't think they're going to sign or trade for or this and that. And the truth is, with Edwin Diaz, you look at how everything laid out. And one thing that we talked about in a previous episode was that when the Mets weren't all in on him. Now, the Mets wanted him back, but they didn't want him back on a 5-year deal. And that is what Edwin Diaz entered free agency wanting to get from the Mets, was a 5-year deal. The Mets didn't want to do that. The Mets went out and they signed Devin Williams to a multi-year deal in the high $40 million range. And once the Mets did that, and yes, they were interested in getting both back, but what I tell you, that Stearns for the Mets does not want to pay big money on multiple relievers. And that the fact that Stearns was steering the ship for the Mets, that told you that Stephen Cohen didn't tell Stearns, hey, get me Edwin Diaz. I want Edwin Diaz back. I'm the richest owner in baseball. I don't care how much it costs. Get me Edwin Diaz. Once it was clear to me that wasn't the case, that is what open the door for the Dodgers to be able to get him on a 3-year deal. That's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot. If he helps the Dodgers win the World Series next season, the season after that, it's already a win. If he just helps the Dodgers win the World Series next year, all 3 years are worth it, because you're looking to do something that's been done an amount of times that you can count on one hand. That is win 3 consecutive World Series titles, three-peat. And with Roki Sasaki going back to being a starter, it was never going to be a viable option for just him to become a reliever. That's not what he's here to be. It was clear that the Dodgers need to go and operate at the top of the market, because one thing that you love about this too is if he stays healthy and he performs the way he did last season, where he was excellent for the New York Mets, a 38% strikeout rate, a 18% swinging strike rate, that's elite swing and miss stuff. That's what plays up in the postseason. 28 saves, and now you have a lights out guy to close things out. A 3-WAR reliever that posted a 1.63 ERA in 66 in the third innings. The Dodgers last year had 27 blown saves. Okay, this was something you needed to correct. And on top of everything else, get your popcorn ready, Los Angeles. Get your popcorn ready, because we are going to see Timmy Trumpet coming out of that Dodgers bullpen in Los Angeles. Edwin Diaz bringing that electric Timmy Trumpet closer's entrance to Dodger Stadium. Imagine the entertainment value there if you're Dodgers Nation. You go to a game, you watch Yoshinobu's Yamamoto have 10 strikeouts, you see Shohei Ohtani hit 2 home runs, and then you watch Edwin Diaz come out of the bullpen and close it out to Timmy Trumpet. That is a top-tier Major League Baseball entertainment experience, and that's what Dodgers fans are going to get to do. So, more news on this deal. It was originally reported by Salmon. It was Salmon who was the original on this deal. Will Salmon of The Athletic. He's the dude who broke the story. He covers the Mets for The Athletic, so I want to give him full credit. 3 years, though. I mean, a lot of people thought when it was 3 years that it was going to be 30 million, 40 million, something insane. I'm obviously not that price, because that'd be for an elite starter, but people thought that it could reach the $30 million per season plateau with the high AAV. The Dodgers get him on, look, that's a premium price, but it's not a 5-year, it's not a 6-year deal. And just to rewind a little bit on Edwin Diaz, he returned to the market this offseason, opting out of the final 2 years of that 5-year, $102 million deal that had already broken a record. So he does still end up on top here, because he opted out of that 5-year, $102 million deal that still had $38 million left over the final 2 seasons to test the market. So he's getting more money from that. So think about, from Edwin Diaz's standpoint, yeah, obviously, in a perfect world, you're saying to yourself, oh, I'll just sign another 5-year, $102 million deal. That was never going to be the case. 32 years old, 31. He's someone he was great, elite for sure, but he did have a bounce back season. After the first year was a little bumpy. So I think that for Edwin Diaz, if you stay in that deal, you get $38 million, and you get out of that deal, not only do you make more money now, an extra $30+ million, you're playing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And that is a perfect situation for him. And you look at this Dodgers bullpen now, you're going to get Brusdar Graterol back. Tanner Scott, you're hoping, has a bounce back year. Evan Phillips, you have to believe they're going to sign him before spring training and throw him onto that 60-day IL, coming back of Tommy John surgery. You got Anthony Bonda back. You got Alex Vesia back. You got pieces for sure. There's no doubt about it. But now you have a guy that is really a push-button closer, in the sense that, I mean, is not going to be kind of one of those things for Dave Roberts where he has to think a lot about who's going to get the final 3 outs in the 9th inning, right? I think it's going to make life easy for Dave Roberts. And also, too, I think it puts Tanner Scott in a great position where he doesn't have the pressure of being an everyday closer. It puts Tanner Scott in the position where he can go back to what made him great, and that is a high leverage reliever, a guy that you can throw in big situations against lefties, and he can take care of those moments in those big spots. So I think that not only are you getting the best reliever available, but you're also getting a guy that can make guys better. This could make Tanner Scott better. And now you got premium arms coming out of the bullpen, premium arms coming out of the rotation, and of course we know what the offense brings. So big takeaways here are that this Dodgers team is not messing around. They fully, once again, have proven that you have a need and you address that need with the best available option. Last season, they did just that. My number one free agent target 2 years ago was who? Shohei Ohtani. My number one free agent target last season, Blake Snell. They need another starter. They went out and got the best available. Snell's better than Fried. Snell's better than Burns. There's no debate there. That's not a discussion. Look at Blake Snell in the postseason. He didn't have the best World Series, but was great in the postseason. All things considered, Max Fried is not that guy compared to Blake Snell. That's not a debate I'm willing to even partake in. I question your ball knowledge if you're going to try to talk me into Fried over Snell. I don't do that to yourself, okay? And I respect all you, right? This year, Edwin Diaz is better than Devin Williams. Edwin Diaz is better than Robert Suarez. Edwin Diaz is better than Ryan Helsley. Edwin Diaz is better than anyone that you're going to trade for because you don't want to trade prospect pieces to get a reliever. That's not what you want to do. And then two, it puts the Dodgers in a position where if you want to take a big swing, if Tarek Skubal becomes available and the Dodgers, either one of their starters gets injured or you just want to bring in Tarek Skubal, woo him for next season, and then try to sign him after the year, well, now you better yourself from a prospect capital standpoint to where you don't have to go after a reliever at the trade deadline if everything works out. Because the last thing that Dave Roberts and Andrew Freeman and Brandon Gomes and Mark Walter and everyone in this organization wants to do is not maximize what they have. They're all about maximizing everything they have. And now those prospect chips, if you're going to deal, you can use them for an outfielder, you can use them for a starter, but you don't have to do the worst thing possible and use them for a reliever. But all right, welcome to this emergency breaking news episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit that like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers who continue to ruin baseball. Let's get some comments down below. Super chat. Doug, what is next for the Dodgers after Edwin? They could make a trade for an outfielder. They could trade for a starter. Of course, we talked about that wild rumor about Tarek Skubal yesterday. They could bring Kenley Jansen as a complimentary piece. They could sign Harrison Bader, trade for Steven Kwan, trade for Jarren Duran, trade for Wilyer Abreu. They could bring back Cody Bellinger. So I think now the big decision that the Dodgers are going to have to make is what do they want to do as far as the outfield picture goes. Yesterday, Dave Roberts said, quote, Teoscar Hernandez is our right fielder, quote, for now. So are they still all in on Teoscar Hernandez, or do they move him, try to move him? I don't think they will. I don't think they should. Quite frankly, I think bats like that do not grow on trees, ones that you can trust in the postseason. You shake up the clubhouse chemistry and the nucleus. This team loves Teo, and he brings that flavor. I don't want to feel like I'm eating cardboard like I was with the Dodgers from a couple years ago. It was like eating cardboard. Boring, no flavor, no passion, blah, 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 Dodgers. If it was a movie, it would be a bomb. This Dodgers movie, it'd be like Major League. A lot of characters, diverse, playmakers, And I think Teoscar Hernandez is an embodiment of that. Is the new look, different type of Dodgers versus the ones that we saw a couple years back when they were not meeting expectations in the postseason. Diaz is going to sell a lot of merch. We've got A.M. Sanchez, got my trade in. It was Diaz and or Ski and Scooble, Dynasty mode activated. Aesthetic, I'm high on Quan as a third option for what's out there. We've got Dodgers, Ram LA, Andrew Freeman, the mad scientist, does it again. What is up, Buxton next? That's from Koita. I mean, there's some talk that the Twins want to hold on to some of their pieces. Who knows, though? I think that's a lot of posturing. I think if they get wooed by some big deals, I mean, Buxton would be a great piece. Scoobs, let's go from Jajasuke. Dodgers adding the Infinity Stones from Alex Renteria. Yeah. The Infinity Stones, the Dodgers have the Infinity Stones, and they certainly do. We got Shohei Yamamoto. Now they got the reliever Infinity Stone in Edwin Diaz. We got Michael Quino breaking Timmy Trumpet. Great comment here from Jose Geary. Breaking Timmy Trumpet on a plane to Los Angeles. I love it. Super chat here, 499. Andrew Claus still fits down the chimney. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Dodgers fans. Yeah, Andrew Claus. And then we're not talking about a no trade clause. We're talking about a gifting Dodgers fans, rewarding them for what they have put into this organization. That's a lot of passion, and they're roaring them for sure. Cue the trumpets. 3-peat is almost a certainty now. Bless ya. Look, here's the thing. Friedman, Lord of the Rings. I love that. I still want a center fielder. Move Andy to right field. Move Tate to left. Here's the thing. So Doc was lying yesterday. I don't think Doc was lying. I think Doc said that you can never have enough high leverage relievers. And you also don't want to show your cards, right? You don't want to give other people leverage in contract negotiations, and everything's kind of fluid. Here's the thing. I mean, we were all saying the same thing about Tanner Scott last year. So don't want to speak in absolutes, but I do feel like Edwin Diaz is a little bit of a different situation than a Tanner Scott, because Edwin Diaz has been better for longer. And here's another thing that's important as well. Edwin Diaz has been really good in New York. And yes, the Mets aren't the Yankees, but the Mets is a bigger team, a bigger market than the Marlins and the Padres. And he understands what it's like to have that pressure. And I think that he'll embrace being the closer of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He absolutely will. And I think that for Diaz, this is an opportunity to make yourself a bigger star than you already are. This is the city of stars. This is the team of stars. But there's room for him to be a star here, because maybe you're a Dodgers fan and you might think about leaving a game and you're like, I don't know. Dodgers up by 2 runs. I kind of want to see Edwin Diaz and the Timmy Trumpet. Like, it's going to make Dodgers fans stay until the 9th if they don't already, right? So he brings that element as well. And I think that there's just a perfect fit for Diaz and a perfect piece for the Dodgers at both stages, the Dodgers championship window and where Edwin Diaz is at this part of his career. And I just look at the fact that the Dodgers, they don't force these, but they put themselves in positions to get guys like this, because the truth is, look, if the Mets went out there and immediately wanted Diaz, there's no way that, and they wanted to give him 5 years and $100+ million. I don't think the Dodgers would have gone out there and been as aggressive, but they stayed opportunistic. They are like the rebound dude. Like, the Dodgers are Charles Barkley and Dennis Rodman. Like, they get the rebounds, and they did that once again in this situation. They put themselves in a great spot to get a great closer, still paying big money, but it's 3 years, not 4 or 5 years, which for this team's window, it matches with this core. It matches with Mookie and Freddie and Shohei and Yoshi and Blake and Tyler and all these great players that they have. But some more looks at his numbers. Edwin Diaz is not just one of the counting stat type darling relievers, but deeper metrics like him as well. So He had a 1.63 ERA last season, in 2.45 expected ERA, had 28 saves in 62 appearances for the Mets, had 98 strikeouts, 21 walks in 66 in the third innings, made the All-Star team, made the second All-MLB team, so he was a second team All-MLB player, which is kind of a new phenomenon for Major League Baseball, so getting used to that. But he had a bounce back in his career. I mean, he missed the 2023 season with a knee injury, which, if you're the Dodgers looking back, hey, that's less mileage for them and more mileage for you. And it was a freak accident. It was in the WBC where he was celebrating, he hurt his knee. But then over the last couple of years, he bounced back. He was second among all qualified relievers in strikeout rate with a 38.4% strikeout rate. Had a 29.7% strikeout minus walk rate, had a 2.48 ERA, a 2.46 expected ERA in over 120 innings of work for the last couple of seasons. And he's going to turn 32 in March. And you look at this Dodgers bullpen, they're investing in it again. Last season, you signed Tanner Scott to $72 million for 4 years, but then you bring in Edwin Diaz this year, $23 million. And just put a big fat check right next to the reliever need for the Dodgers. They certainly checked off that box. I think a lot of people think he's older than he is. He's not. He's 31. So he's younger than Suarez. And this is just a really good spot for the Dodgers to go out there and get Edwin Diaz. But all right, guys. Some other news, Kyle Schwarber back to the Phillies. There was some talk that he was going to go to the Pirates, something like that. He's back to the Phillies on a 5-year deal, $150 million deal. But Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers. Diaz, by the way, is a Wasserman guy, in case you're wondering, not a Boris guy. And, yeah, I mean, with the Mets as a whole, a 40.8% strikeout rate. So if you can get anywhere near that 35 to 40+% strikeout rate, you're going to feel pretty good. But let's look at the Dodgers bullpen now. Vesia. So Edwin Diaz, Tanner Scott, Alex Vesia, Blake Tryon, Anthony Bonda, Brock Stewart will be back. Brusdar Graterol back. Will Klein, Ben Kasparius. Let's not forget about Jack Dreyer. Let's not forget about Edgardo Henriquez. There's high-end talent. There's depth. And there's a lot of dynamic arms in there. It's just a matter of health. But other things, the Dodgers, you look at kind of where they're at from a financial standpoint, from a luxury tax standpoint. They've paid the luxury tax for the last 4 years. So 3 consecutive years, you're at a luxury tax tier that's well over that final 110% tax tier. And so Diaz, they're going to have to pay a lot. It's not just the surface level, because the taxes alone on that, you're looking at $25.3 million, if you want to look at it that way. So that's on top of the $69 million when you can include the taxes. So point is, the Dodgers are so invested in this team. So give a lot of love and hit the like button for the Guggenheim Group, Mark Walter. We are living in the golden age of Dodger baseball for sure. But the payroll next year for the Dodgers is a little over $359 million. And that's not with the deferrals of Ohtani, Scott, Freddie Freeman. But we'll get into that in another episode. But all right, guys, do some more comments here. Edwin Diaz is a Dodger. And I'm going to go back down to go to the lobby at the Waldorf Astoria and get some more interviews. And hopefully I'm going to get with Friedman today. Nando D-Mac speaks Scooble to the Dodgers in existence. What am I, LeVar Ball? Hey, Doug, with the signing of Diaz, does that leave Bellinger out of the question, or is he still in the hunt, Amber? I think he's still a possibility. It depends on what the Dodgers want to do from that standpoint. I mean, think about it. If they were ever even close to being in on Kyle Tucker, that tells you that they were willing to spend big money, even if it's on a shorter term, high AAV deal. You're talking about a contract that would cost you $40+ million per season. and the Dodgers had $87 million coming off the books, and you had $23 million this year with the contract of Edwin Diaz. So I wouldn't say it rules it out. I think the big question for Bellinger is how big does his market get and how long-term of a deal could he get? Because I think the Dodgers would prefer him on a 5 or 6 year deal, maybe something in that spot. But if there's teams out there willing to go longer on Bellinger and talk themselves into it, who knows? He's a guy that's represented by Scott Boras, and they know how to sell their clients. So I wouldn't say that this precludes them. Signing a closer would never preclude the Dodgers from signing an outfielder, especially if they feel like they need one. And who knows? Is that predicated on could they get someone to take on Teoscar Hernandez, and they want to go that direction? Yesterday, they were pretty strongly against the idea of trading Teo. So I wouldn't say that, though. I would still say that there's a possibility. We're spoiled for Miss Lola Bella. We've got Bloodhound, Lil Jeff. Boris puns today alluded the belly back to L.A. What you think, D-Mac? Yeah, look, I've talked to Boris about Bellinger. The Boris process is about establishing the market as big as you possibly can, and then trying to work with that player to get him where he wants to go. And that player has to decide, do I want to go with the team that's going to pay me the most, or do I want to go to the team where I'm most comfortable in? Look, the Yankees, who knows what they're going to do with him, but I wouldn't look too deep into that for sure. I mean, look, the truth is the Dodgers signed Blake Snell, and that's a Scott Boras client. So they've shown if they want a Scott Boras client that would cost less than $200 million, they can get it done. And that's what I think Bellinger certainly needs to consider that for sure. Andrew Fleeceman strikes again. 3-peat, go blue. Cody isn't worth a long-term deal from Brianna. D-Mac got that phone up to his eyes. LMAO. Yeah, it was small fun. I don't know. All right, let me keep it here. Yeah, I don't have my glasses. I don't wear glasses. I just eat a lot of carrots. Do carrots help vision? I'm not sure, but I've never seen a rabbit wearing glasses. That's all I'm going to say. Someone said Scooble for Bonda. Hey, who says no? Yeah, give me Max Muncie's glasses. I like it. All right, guys, what do we think? What are your takes? Drop them down below, especially after the episode, too. We go back and drop it down there. Yeah, this is a good point here. We've got Jason Brewer, luxury tax be damned. 3-peat is worth millions more. History is cemented. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. If the Dodgers win the World Series next year, I think it's the best 3-year run that any team has ever been on in the history of the sport. And immediately, anytime you have the conversation about best teams ever and best runs ever, you include the Los Angeles Dodgers. You don't do that with the Giants. You don't do it with the Padres. You don't do that with a lot of teams around this league. You wouldn't do it with the Cardinals, the Cubs. It would be the Dodgers right at the top, with just the Yankees, really, that 98 to 2000 run. And I would put the Dodgers' best talent over that team's best talent. So obviously we have a championship to win before we get there. But I think that anytime you win championships, you always want to win, but it's what's the extra layer of motivation, the extra incentive. And I think the Dodgers' extra incentive is just we want to win every year because that's the standard of our organization. But on top of that, it is the opportunity to do something that means more than just winning one title, or like the Marlins did, or the Rangers did, or when the Giants did in the even years. Who's talking about those Giants titles? Who's talking about those Giants titles? No one, other than Giants fans, right? But when you win multiple titles, when you're a dynasty, you start to talk about other things. I think what the Dodgers have right now, they have the opportunity to level up as an organization. And when I tell you I've been a Dodger fan my entire existence, peep the baby photos, right? But even I will say that they weren't necessarily in the Lakers category, right? They are inching up to being tier 1. And I think if they're not already there, they could be there with one more title. But that's going to do it for this episode, this emergency episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. Thank you guys for making this the most watched and most viewed and most listened to Dodgers show on the planet. And the latest is Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers on a 3-year, $69 nice $1 million deal. The Dodgers get their guy once again, and we will break it down more later. Anything else breaks, look for us live. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the LA Sports Report. That's who sponsored the show. And GearUp.LA for all the best Dodgers t-shirts and merch in the game. Go to GearUp.LA. Some walk-offs here. We got David LFG. We've got Donna Davis. A.M. Sanchez, Brianna, thank you for tuning in. Wadib, I see the trumpet emoji. Get ready for Timmy Trumpet in L.A. BC Rock with us. Mario. All right, guys, exciting stuff as always. But you can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.